All right, my friends. Good to see you all, though I am doing this from my phone. So actually, anyone whose video is off, I actually don't even see a silhouette, but by going to participants, I can see that Paul, Bobby Zadie, and Judd are on. Anyone else who joins, we'll figure it out. All right, we find ourselves on Daf Lamed Beis Amid Beis on 32b. Okay. I can see you, Bobby. I can see you, Paul. All right. I see some pictures. That's good. Okay, we're on 32b. Now, we left off last time. Can you hear me well, by the way? Just nod if you hear me. Okay, good. So we left off last time with a really, John, good to see you as well. We
Hi,
we left
Moshe.
a very captivating and perplexing line in the Gemara on the top of Lambeis and Beis, which said that um there are certain Sine Hara Barzel, certain kinds who love him, that basically these palm trees, right between them, there was smoke coming out, and there is one of the three, at least back then, known entryways to Gehenna. So, as you can imagine, this is not just a mythological fun fact, but there's a lot of darshaning that goes into this. So we gave one explanation last time from Ravel Yashiv, and we'll give two more from. I pull this out every now and then. Itzotze Hashas. It's just like a collection of Hasidic Vortlach and the like on the Amud. Looks like Gloria is here as well, and there you are, Zadie and Irwin too. Okay. So one reading of it, I can't even pronounce the name. The Admor Mijmigerd. Okay, somebody important. Uh, says Zeyesh Lomar Shemiramis Bigamara Hanal. What's it mean? Why is it telling us about the entry again here? Lomar Sha'av Shehima Sheros Imkol Zem Mishal Keachosam who Osa Aso Pesach Lichnos Gehenna. Meaning, there's this whole drush that precedes it, but the upshot is that there are things in life which might not be forbidden and might be okay, but you're doing the bare minimum. And if one constantly does the bare minimum, eventually, without a margin of error, they're going to start doing less than the bare minimum as well. So by going ahead and taking these lulavim, which are just barely kosher, and saying, well, they're kosher, that's all I need to do, then eventually that's how one goes down to Gehenna, because if one is constantly aiming for the bare minimum, eventually they're going to miss the mark and not even achieve the bare minimum. So that's one drasha that's given. Another drasha that's given, again, I'm not going to even embarrass myself and try pronouncing the names in here. I don't know how to pronounce them. The other one is that there are two tomorrows, there are two palm trees. And Rav Yashiv brought up this point also. We say tzaddik hatamar yifrach, that the righteous, they will sprout like palm trees. So this refers to palm trees. Now, what is the smoke between these two palm trees? That's va'ashan hamachlokus b'neihem. This refers to the smoke of controversy between them. And what do you mean when we say that, that they are ksheros? Klomar shkol echa ve'echa mevakish heter la'atzmo va'omer shekavanas l'shem shemayim. So each side is going to claim that their side of the machlokus is right in a controversy. But in truth, this is, they say, right, the path to hell is paved with good intentions, right? So they're going to claim that they're doing things l'shem shemayim, but really they're on the highway to hell. Shemachalim kavod shemayim Torah kedosha b'nei umas or the Amara Amei Haaretz. There's an abbreviation there. So, but really, when you have these two seemingly should be paragons of conscientiousness and morality going at it and having a controversy in broad daylight, it does not bring glory to Torah, but rather it is mizalzel and it denigrates the Torah. And that's what brings someone to the highway to Gehenna. If I titled our shiurim, then on why I just put up and say 32b, you know. But I'd have to say Highway to Gehenna would be the title of this year. Okay. Two, I'm not going to say less exciting things, but less mythical things. Let's go to the Gemara, 32b Lamed Beis, Amud Beis. We're at the two dots, just shy of a quarter way down. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, okay? So until now, we've talked about the measurements for a lulav. We talked about lulav a lot. Let's talk about hadassim, the myrtles. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, Shir Hadas Arava Shlosha, the lulav arba. So the shir of a hadas and an arava is 3 tfachim. A lulav is 4 tfachim. Why is lulav taller? Well, kadeshe lulav yotze min hadas tefach, so that the lulav is at least 1 tefach above the hadas, and above the hadas. Rabbi Pranach Amar Rabbi Yochanan Shidro Shalulav Sar Sheitz Min Hadas Tefach. Not only can the upper leaves have to be a tefach above, but actually you start measuring it from the spine, from the core of the lulav. That has to be at least a tefach. So that means it has to be a little bit taller than 4 tefachim. Shidro Shalulav Sar Sheitz Min Hadas Tefach. Okay, now we have a question against both of these shitos. Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah, it sounds like for a Mishnah that all you need is 3 tefachim for a lulav. So ema ukidei l'nanea bo kasher. You have to add an extra vav in over there. 3 tefachim plus whatever you need in order to make it wave a tefach above the hadas. Market islay. And this answers the question for both man to amrim. One man to Amar would say a tefach toller from the leaves, and the other one would say starting from the spine and upward. Okay, very nice. Tashima, but now we have a question against Rabbi the second shita, which was Rabbi Yochanan. Tashima, Shir Hadas Arava Shlosha Lulav Arba. We taught that a shir of hadas and arava is 3 tefachim, and a lulav is 4 tefachim. My la bahade alin. Aren't we measuring from the leaves, not from the spine? Lo levame alin. No, you just have to put in a little bit of in between the line explanation. We measure that additional tefach, not from the leaves, but starting from the spine. The spine needs to even exceed the length of the hadas by at least a tefach. Very good. Gufa. So further on this matter that we referenced regarding the shear of a hadas, right? We just talked about the shear for a lulav, and by way of talking about the measurements for lulav, we talked about hadas. So let's go further to talking about hadasim. Shear hadas arava shlosha v'lulav arba. So as we've taught before, the shear for hadas and rava is 3, and lulav is 4 tefachim. Very tired for Omer. But what kind of tefach? So it's important to know that when we talked about this in the past, in Amma, there's 2 kinds of Amos. There's an Amma that is 6 tefach, made of 6 tefachim. It's split into 6 parts, or it can be split into 5 tefachim. There's different kinds of tefachim. So what kind of tefach are we talking about here? So Amma bas chamisha tefach. We're talking about an amma that's split into 5 parts, comprised of 5 tefachim. Amar Rava Sharli Marli Rabbi Tarfon. May God forgive Rabbi Tarfon. Hashda avos shlosha lo mashrechinan. Bas chanishim yivai. It's hard enough for us to find 3. So the way he's understanding it now, I'm already explaining the answer. The initial way Rava understands Rabbi Tarfon is that the hadasim need to be 5 tefachim tall. But then Rava says it's hard enough for us to find 3 tefach hadasim. Now Rabbi Tarfon wants to be machmir on us and make us have to find minimum 5 tefach hadasim. So then he also Rav Dimi Amar. No, he doesn't mean that the hadasim are 5 tefachim tall. It means we use the tefachim of a 5 tefach amma to measure, meaning it's still 3 tefachim, but these are wider tefachim. These are taller tefachim based on that. I'll just finish the line and I'll take your question. So what's happening? Because we're dealing our bas shisha tefachim, aseosa bas misha. So take a typical tefach made of 6 tefachim, but then it says splitting it into 6 parts. imagine that it's split into 5 parts, and each fifth is a tefach. Semen shlosha lahadas v'shar lulav. So 3 tefachim from that measurement becomes a hadas, and then add an additional tefach for a lulav. Yes, Paul.
From where are we measuring? The bottom of the lulav or where we place it on the lulav?
The entire lulav, the entire length of the lulav. Before, when we
And
were saying that the lulav has to exceed the hadas by a tefach, that was a debate. Can we measure that tefach even just from the upper leaves, or does it need to be the spine itself needs to be a tefach taller? But the shear is for the lulav, or it's 4 tefachim from top to bottom is the idea. Yeah. Okay. I mean, the idea, I don't think we said it yet, but the idea also is that one of those tefachim of the lulav, 1 tefach, is being held literally in the tefach, right? The tefach of your hand. So that's 3 tefachim above your hand, essentially. Okay, so kama havalahu. But wait a minute, what does this come out to? Shlasa tlasa chumshi. That means you have 3 tefachim plus 3/5 of a tefach if we're measuring by the 6 tefachim. Now that's okay, but there's a contradiction in Shmuel then. Kash and Shmuel and Shmuel. In one place, we said we have Shmuel on the record saying that the shear of an Hadas and Rava is 3 tefachim. So here's the issue. In one place, Shmuel says tefach stam. Hey, sweetie, you want to say hi briefly? Oh, you're a doctor. Very good. Okay. So the issue is in one place, Shmuel says 3 tefachim without qualification. 3 tefachim without qualification refers to a 6 tefach. But then he says the halach is in accordance with Rabbi Tarfa. Rabbi Tarfa measures with a 5 tefach. So the issue is not really with Rabbi Tarfa. The issue is with Shmuel, who seems to paskin both ways. So the Gemara initially tries to resolve this by saying, so let's spell it out in the Gemara first. Right? So the answer is, Erwin, this is your favorite, right? I think Erwin's on. Okay. Low duck. So we had this one back, I think, on Daf Zayin, Daf Ches. All right, Shmuel was being imprecise. You know, what's 3/5 of a tefach between friends? So Amar Darbina lo duck lo chumra lo duck. No, but that doesn't work. You see, you could be imprecise and err on the side of caution by adding more. But the issue is when Shmuel gave his public psak, he said just 3 tefachim by a 6 tefach measure, which is lower than the shear of 3 tefachim of Rabbi Tarfon, which goes by an amma of 5 tefachim. A 5 tefach amma, tefachim making up 5 tefachim making up 1 amma. Those are bigger tefachim. So the issue is Shmuel's psak that he was giving out publicly was lower than the shear of Rabbi Tarfon, which he seems to claim is correct. So that's the issue. So rather, we're going to reframe everything. Ki asa Rabin Amar Amabas Chamisha Tfachem. Really, what happened initially was he explained that it's an Amma of 5 Tfachem. This is what Rabbi Tarfon meant. Aseo Sashisha split a 5 Tefach Amma into 6 Tfachem. You want to sit down here? Yeah. I can play the game with you in 5 minutes, okay? I would love to play with you. 5 minutes, okay, sweetie? I'm sure mommy wants to play. Okay, sorry, I had to adjudicate that. Anyway, so Amar Amabas Kamisha Tfachim Aseo Sashisha. Semen Shlosh Ladas, so that means 3 for the Hadas, Vashar Lulav, and an additional Teva for Lulav. So Kama Havilahu, Shrei Upalga. So that means by 5 Tefach Amma standards, you really sorry, what that means is that you really wind up with 2.5 tefachim by our standard tefach. So what's that mean? So Kash Shmuel Shmuel. We still have a contradiction, but now we have the benefit of going the other way. Lo duck behind lechumra lo duck. Damarav Hunamar Shmuel halach Rabbi Tarfon. So now Rabbi Tarfon is really the one who's giving the lower measurement. Rabbi Tarfon's measurement of 3 tefachim is in reality 2.5 tefachim. And then when Shmuel came out and gave his psak of 3 tefachim, that's actually erring lechumra, erring on the side of caution. So that makes sense. We do that all the time, right? Many times we put out the time for candle lighting, for instance, or when you could light, I was just putting together this Zmanim for Shavuos. So for this Zmanim for Shavuos, it said on my Zmanim, and I'm just making something up, that candle lighting for the second day of Shavuos was 9:10, or sorry, 9:09 and 50 seconds. So when I don't put 9:09 and 50 seconds, I put 9:10. You see, you could be low duck lechumra. You could add on a little bit to err to side of caution, but I wouldn't write 9:09 because then people might light 50 seconds earlier. See how that works? So that's the idea. Where's the Shai switch rooms? Is that? Yeah, just give me a moment. I'm just gonna swap rooms over here. That way, give Talia some time to scream on her own. All right. All right. All righty. As we were. Okay, so we're at the Mishnah, my friends. Right? Any questions? All right. We're at the Mishnah. So Hadas Hagazel Vayavesh Pasal. So now we're talking about the measurement for. So now we're talking about the Hadas. So many of the halachos in this Mishnah will sound very familiar. They're very much analogous to what we learned about a lulav. So here we go. Hadas Hagazel Vayavesh Pasal. So hadas that is stolen or is dried out is puzzle. Shall asher of shall ir hanidachas puzzle if it is from an ashera tree, avodah zara, or from an ir hanidachas puzzle. Nektam rosho if its head was cut off. Nifritzu alav if its leaves started coming off. Oshahayu right spreading off of it and detaching. O shahayu anava merubos me alav or its berries are more than its leaves. Puzzle. V'mi'atan kosher. But if you remove the berries, then it will be kosher. Ve'eim matin b'yom tov. But we're not allowed to remove the berries on Yom Tov. Okay. All right. So I'm sorry, I need to relocate over here. There's a lot of noise. Just give me one second. We're all there. Okay. Yeah, you hear me, Paul?
I can hear you.
Yes. I have a question.
Okay. Yes.
Isn't a shera a kind of tree? I always thought a shera was used in some form of avodah zarah.
Yeah, so Rashi describes that it basically refers to it doesn't even it's not necessarily worshiping the tree even. It's actually it could be a broom that was used to worship Asherah or to worship other avodah zarah. So it's actually not clear it's necessarily the worshiping the tree itself. It could be that materials were taken and used for avodah zarah also. Okay. So as we were, Tanar Rabbanan, Anaf Eitz Avos, Shanaf of Chofen Es Eitzav. So how do we know what the identity of a Hadass is? So it describes Hadass in the Torah as Anaf Eitz Avos, these kind of braided branches that come out of the tree. So the idea is Shanaf of Chof, plated rather, Shanaf of Chofen Es Eitzav. So its leaves are covering its branches. The Ezahu. So Havi Omer is a Hadas. I would say this refers to a Hadas. The Ema Zesa Ba'inan. Sorry, Ema Zesa, but maybe this refers to a Zayas. Maybe this refers to olives. So Ba'inan Avos Valeka, but they don't have the plated leaves. The Ema Dulva. Maybe this refers to chestnut. Ba'inan Anafav Chupin as Eitza Valeka. But there, the leaves are not actually covering the branches, so that can't be it either. Ve'ema hirdof, I'm not really sure what hirdof is, but Rashi says klea suyin alav. It's some other kind of branches that have braids. So there, Amar Abaye, this sounds very familiar from our other discussion. Deracha darchi noam veleka Rava Amar mehachahames v'ashomavo. So these ideas basically that either because it's thorny, as Rashi says, or because it's used to make poison, so Hashem would not want us to use something like that. So therefore, what are we left with? A hadas. Tanar Rabbanan, kalua kamin kliya udoma lishalsheles zehu hadas. So what's a hadas? Something that's braided like a chain, and that's what the hadas resembles. Rabbi Yezer ben Yaakov Omer Anaf Eitz Avots Eitz Shatam Eitzav Upiryav Shava. So these are branches that its branches and apparently its fruit taste the same. The Omer is the hadas. So remember we said how the hadas could produce berries also. We're not really supposed to have berries, or certainly not a lot of berries on them, but apparently they taste the same. I don't know if that's a good taste or a bad taste. Anyone ever try out hadas berries? No. Okay, so you guys will report back to me. Tana Eitz Avos kosher, Usheina Avos pasul. So Eitz Avos is kosher, and Eino Avos pasul. So what does that mean? Heiki dami Avos. What do we mean by the word Avos? Amar Yehuda Udekaimi tlasa tarfi bekina. As you probably notice when you look at your hadassim, each base where they come out of has 3 leaves coming out. Hey, Rav Kahana Amar, if you trey v'cha, no, even 2 and 1 is okay. Meaning, I don't have a picture really to demonstrate. You can imagine 2, right? You have 2 here, and then you have 1 leaf over here. So then 2 down here, 1 up here, and then effectively they are covering each other. So Rav Kahana says that would be kosher. That would be kosher. And therefore, Rav Acha Bereid Rav Mahader Atrei B'chat. Rav Acha Bereid Rava held so strongly to this that he would try to find a hadas that was structured that way, but in a 2-1 formation. Hov enough it can be Pume Rav Kahana, since it came from the mouth of Rav Kahana. Amar le Mar Bar Amemar Ravashi. Abalahu hadas shota karile. My father would call this a hadas shota. Shota is someone who lacks mental capacity. I don't know what the PC term for it is these days, but basically it's a deranged hadas. Okay. Taner Rabbanan, Nashru Rov Olav Shaibro Miut Kasher. If most of the leaves fell off but some of it remained on, even a little bit, even not the majority. Kosher, the hadas is still kosher. Well, vashre avoso kayemes, as long as it still has that kind of braided, plated like features to it. Hagufa kasha, but you just told me two things that contradict each other. Amrit nashuroval of kosher. You first told me that even if most of the leaves fall off, it's still kosher. Bahadar Tani, and then you also told me, well, Vashate Avoso Kayemes, as long as the plated feature of it is still intact. But came the Nasu Trey Avos Mishkakasa. But if the majority of the leaves fell off, then you can't have it plated anymore. Because the idea is that you have three leaves, or 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. You don't even have enough for a 2-1, 2-1 formation, just 1-1, 1-1, 1. So how does that make any sense? Samar Abaye, Mishkachas law, Ba'asa Mitzira. So the special Asa Mitzira, the Kaimi Shiva Bacharkina. Instead of just 3 coming out of every stem, you have 7 whopping leaves coming out. So that way, Dechinasri Arba Pashut Lasa, when the majority of the leaves fall out and you lose 4, you still have 3 left, just like a typical hadas. So that's how you could have the majority of the leaves fall out, yet it could still be plated and still be kosher. Amar Abaye, Shmamina Hai also Mitzira kosher lahoshana. And what I could further infer from here, this means that such a hadas that has 7 leaves coming out of each base is still kosher. Cheetah. Well, why would I think otherwise? Ma'adatema hova islay shem lavai lo miskasher kamash malan. Because I would think, since this has a special name, it's called the Asa Mitzira. So it grows al hametzar rash, al hametzar shalsada, at the straits of the field. I would think it's not kosher. Maybe it's considered a different species than other hadassim. And the Gemara's like, that's a good point. Maybe it is a problem. So the Gemara concludes, and this will conclude, Eitz avos amar Rachman mikol makom. Since the Torah just said Eitz avos, it left it very open-ended. The seven leaf based hadas would also be kosher as well. Even though it has a very specialized, specific name, it's still considered part of the hadas family. And it'd be interesting to see if that's on the market. Maybe we should order that this coming year, and we could all try it out. Bring Maseches Sukkah to life. All right. Thank you for bearing with me. I have to work better to get to the shul by the time Gemara time comes around. All right. Wishing you all a wonderful evening and a good Shabbos.
Thank you.
You too.
All right. Take care.
Take care.